So, alright. You told me about a game that you wanted to watch. Is there
Yep.
like you told me about impacting the map and then a bit about matchups. Is there like anything in specific that you feel like you lack when it comes to impacting the map? Like, are you moving on the map and then letting your top laner or like enemy push too much? What do you feel
Mm,
like is the issue?
I think the issue is that I played too much in the theory. Like when
Mm-hmm.
there is a wave bot crashing in my tower, I have to go and catch it, then push back the next one. And
Okay.
I think I'm too much in the theory. So in games where I feel like I need to impact the map with my ults, with my capacity as a tank or or the engage of the team to do something, I uh, I think I should find like opportunities to
Mm-hmm.
maybe like skip a wave on the side and maybe do something mid that can create something good
Okay.
or anything. And I think it's some sort of creativity that I don't have, I think.
Uh, all right. Let's go over the game, and maybe
Yep.
we can start by looking at team comps because I think as a tank, a lot of things people don't do is look at team comps and try to understand how important it is for you to be mid,
Okay.
or like not important because sometimes it's not.
Okay. Do you want to look at the overall review
If you have first
spec
person, it would be
or
better.
okay, I have it.
Okay.
Um,
Can you pause at some moment where you click tab so we can look at every team? Okay. So your Maokai against Darius, pretty rough matchup. When you're looking at like this champion or this draft, for example, like what are you thinking? Like how did both teams interact? What's your job in this team?
mm, I mean, I think my job here is to be there with my Caitlyn to protect her and
Yeah,
look
that's it. That's
for
in team
maybe
fights, right?
ultimate in team fights. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're thinking like 25 minutes into the game, but like how do you get there? What's your
Oh,
initial impact? Because like I look at this draft and I think your top side is very weak. You
yeah.
have uh, you have Ramos versus Graves, which in isolation it's not the worst thing in the world, right? But then you have Maokai against Darius and you have Salas versus Rice. So what I'm thinking is it's really easy for Graves to like use their prios to either dive you level 3 with Rise or to invade Ramos, right?
Yeah.
So what can you do about it? Like, is there anything your champion can do? Like, can you put a ward somewhere? This is the kind of stuff I try to think about first when I come
Okay.
into a game like this.
I mean, I guess I have to put a word like in the. I don't know if you can see my mouse.
I can.
Maybe in the river, like between. I mean, if we want to have information about Graves or Rise moving to topside,
Mm-hmm.
either in the little bush here or in the middle of the river, around like mm, I don't know, maybe before the lane start, or what do
Yeah.
you think of
How do you
it?
think your Ramos should path this game, for example?
Um, I think he should pass to bot side. I mean, it's either he's passing top to cover the dive,
Yeah.
if there's dive, or he pass bot to give pressure to our bot lane who needs to take plates and priority and stuff.
Okay. What's the consequence of like both situations? Because I think if you're Maokai in this game, it's really important that you understand both
Mm,
impacts, right? Like if you
yeah,
pass butt, what's gonna happen to you in this case?
I mean, I'll probably get Dove if they play well, I guess, because they
Mm-hmm.
didn't, I think, in this game. So maybe they misplayed something, but didn't dive me top. But they should. And if I'm getting Dove, I don't know if I'm full HP, I can handle it.
Is there
I don't
anything
know.
before, like the third wave crashes, for example, that you can do to make it a bit easier on yourself?
Except putting a ward like in this bush
Mm-hmm.
before it crashes, so I can get the information. Maybe I can, if I see the graves coming, I can just give the wave and go back to my T2 or something.
Okay. So what I'm thinking is, if Rambus goes bot, there's the world where you get Dove. I think if you're
Yeah,
full HP, it's a bit hard unless he zones you off EXP. Like level 1
yeah,
Maokai is not gonna survive, right?
yeah,
Uh, Maokai is an interesting champion compared to most tanks because you can start E level 1 and it doesn't change your laning phase a lot because your champion is pretty weak anyways, like level 1 against Darius. So you can start E. You could put a sapling on the pixel bush, like near mid, maybe at like 115,
okay,
a bit late, just in case like Graves wants to do an early invade, or in case he does two camps into top, which would be a bit weird. It's just you don't lose anything for it, and you can put it there, right? You can also put the more aggressive one near Raptors, but you need to do it a bit earlier, like maybe 1 minute, and you'd want
okay,
cover from your laners. And basically, it's giving like small information on the enemy jungle. You're also delaying whatever they're doing a bit if it ends up hitting them, right?
yeah,
And you'd always want to start with E as Maokai, I think, in this matchup. So um, you could do that. Another thing you could do is when you see that the wave is slow pushing towards you, because I think your ward is very important this game, but Maokai can like ward from a distance with easy. So the bush you said you wanted to ward on your blue side, for example, you can just put a sapling there, like preemptively, and
yeah, true.
you can like at the start of the game ward the middle of the river, or you can just save it for later. Like maybe you want to
Okay,
put it on a lane bush or something.
yeah,
Um, when it comes to avoiding the dive, I think you always need to ask yourself the question like, if Graves and Rise path top and they dive me level 3, can my bot lane do something that like impacts the other side? Because I think if you're a top laner and you're dying 3v2, but enemy bot lane is dying 3v2 too, you're always happy, right? Or like you're dying 3v1, they're dying like maybe 4v2 or whatever the situation may be. Like I think you're always happy because bot lane right now is very impactful, especially when you have Caitlyn Lux, right?
mhm,
And like that combo is really good at dealing with Darius, for example. Like you can't really walk up to them and just kill them. It doesn't work
yeah,
like that. So if Darius is 2-0, 20 CS up, but Caitlyn is, I don't know, like 3-0, got 3 plate spot, and is up like 15 CS or more, generally you're pretty happy as Maokai, right? So
yeah,
there's also
yeah,
stuff you need to think about, like, is this possible? Can my team do it this game? Um, Other thing you can ask is like, can Ramos early gank Rise so that he can't come and gank me, you know? Because I don't think Graves Darius can ever dive a Maokai, like that's not possible. Not this early into the game, right?
yeah, I think so too.
So the Rise is really important, so maybe can Ramos do something to stop Rise from moving? This is the kind of stuff I'd like you to think about when you're playing a pretty bad matchup like this. It's like, you never want Ramos to path top, he's just gonna get invaded and it's really painful for him, right?
Yeah,
So what can you do to like delay enemy team from doing stuff, and what can your team do to not make your game hell? Because Caitlyn Lux in 2v2, they're really happy, right?
mhm,
Like if Senna and Sejuani are just getting pushed and Caitlyn is getting plates, everything is good. So
yeah,
there's two things that can stop that from happening. One is Rise, which is kind of the common point between you and bot lane. If Rise can move on the map, it's bad for everyone, right?
yeah,
So if you take that into account, it's like, okay, maybe we can early gank Rise, and you can like suggest that to your team, or at least you should be aware that it's a thing, right? And then the other one is Graves, but Graves is not super good at ganking, but like there's not a lot of CC, Sejuani shouldn't be able to get on top of people before level 6, right?
yeah,
So I'd say early game this game, if you know that Rise is the main threat from enemy team, you can kind of like, if your team is not aware, you can give them that idea, and then it's easier for
okay,
you to have an idea. Like maybe you can early ward Pixel Bush instead of like putting a sapling, because it lasts longer, and if Rise is moving, your team will be able to see it, you know? stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Right, let's watch the game.
I think they went for the late invades.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did.
Is there any reason you start Q?
I just feel like if I have Q, I can maybe walk a bit forward to get minions, and not only the experience.
Mm-hmm.
If the Darius doesn't um, comes in front of me and denying me CS.
Okay. I think because you went bot lane, it's okay. Maybe some games you'll want to start D.
Yeah.
Have you noticed anything about this Darius play so far? Like, are you really happy right now? Are you a bit worried? How are you
I
feeling
mean,
in this game?
I'm kind of happy because he didn't went for aggressive trades, so I know they can't really dive me, and the wave state is good for me, so he
Yeah,
can't really punish me from taking CS. So right now everything's good for me.
agree. I think one thing you should be looking to do, like if you go a bit back earlier, as soon as the wave doesn't crash, like it's always really beneficial for tank players to like try to thin it in a way that it's kind of hard for Darius to crash this wave, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't have any minions to farm for a while, you can throw a Q to the wave. Like if your Gragas, for example, is like one of the best champions at doing this, you can just throw Q and wait for it to come back, and you just
Like
keep.
here, for example,
Yeah,
after
like
his
here,
TP.
here you'd be able to farm the minion and hit the other minions, right?
Yeah.
So it just makes it a bit harder for the Darius to crash. I don't think in this game it makes a difference, but there will be games where it does, and it's important you can see it. Because look, like
Okay.
your minions are almost here. If this wave doesn't crash, this guy is really like not this game because Ramos is what, but it's uncomfortable for the Darius, right?
Yeah, true.
You don't like to be in that situation as any top laner, like in front of enemy turret where you need to auto attack minions that you can't really auto attack, and it just gives you more time because eventually this wave will need to slow push. Like this guy is hitting the wave, which I'm pretty happy with, but if you want to, this wave will slow push and then you can get easily ganked, right?
Yeah.
So delaying that as much as possible is really important. One thing I would do as Maokai, like because you didn't get Dove and you're not in threat anymore, I would put 2 points into Q level 3. It just makes your wave clear and your trades a bit better
Instead of
instead of E.
yeah, makes sense.
Do you think you can crash this wave alone?
No, I think I asked in the com to
Uh,
have
how do you think your
Ramus
2v2
near.
is in this game?
I mean, for sure he's pretty bad, and
Mm-hmm.
because we are two tanks against the Darius plus Graves.
Yeah, I agree.
But I just feel like we can just be together on the wave, crash the wave, because with the big wave, like they can't really. I mean, they can try to take the 2v2, but I think we can win with the big wave.
Yeah, I think so too. I think if you play it slow, it's hard for Darius Graves to like actually lock you guys down. Like you can always you
Yeah,
have phase rush, he can heal you, but it doesn't matter, right?
yeah,
One thing I would do, this game it doesn't matter a lot, but it's important that like you are aware of it. Earlier when you were still pushing the wave, like Maokai can when you're inside of this many minions, not right now, like a bit later, you can actually chunk people with your Q, right? Like right now, if Darius hooks you after your Q, you'll just double auto attack, phase rush away, and he can't chase you because there's a big minion wave. So you can just throw Q at him and like threaten small trades. And
like here, for example,
a
when
bit
he comes
earlier.
forward.
A bit earlier, yeah. Like right now. After you kill this minion, when he goes for that minion, you can Q.
Okay.
And you have enough mana, so it doesn't matter if you Q, right? And because of the state of the wave, you can never really trade back too meaningfully because you have phase rush. And it just makes your 2v2s later like a bit better because maybe he potions too early or he doesn't potion, he has less HP. It's just small stuff, but I think it matters a bit in some situations. It doesn't. One thing you did wrong here, I think, is you pushed the wave a bit too fast. Like if you go back, it's really important.
Yeah. I just think that I should have waited a bit longer for the next wave to come. But yeah, I don't know. I just felt like my Remus was there, and I kind of destroyed the wave just to give him time to do something on the map.
How do you usually think about when to crash the wave? Like, do you have a rule in your head? Like, do you look at the wave in the minimap, stuff like that?
Yeah, I do sometimes. I know that if there is a cannon wave coming, I want to crash with it. Or before, it depends on the wave state, but usually I try to either slow push the two normal waves without the cannon and crash on the cannon, or yeah, that's it.
Okay,
that's
let's go back to when you crashed the wave, because I don't know if this happens often to you, but it happened this game, so I think it's important to go over it. How do tanks usually fight other champions, especially stuff like Darius, Trundle? Like the champions are really OP in 1v1, right?
Yeah.
How can you like win trades?
Fighting with minions, I would say.
Yeah.
Because usually, like, champions like Darius have lower CD than you, so if you can do some good trades with the wave.
Yeah, I also think one big advantage that you have over those champions is that tanks usually have a retreat. Like they're really good in small trades, and they have like either CC or slows. Like Maokai has Q and W, right?
Yeah.
So, and especially with phase rush, you're really fine fighting in minion waves because you can force them to stay in the minion wave for a long time, right? Like if he auto attacks you in that minion wave, you'll W, auto Q, run away, assuming you already eat, right? And you'll take like 3 or 4 auto attacks from minions, and that's maybe 300, 400 damage. Like it's a lot. And you're winning the trade by a lot if you do that, right?
Yeah.
So it's really important that like before when you crash the wave, you need to understand like this is your big advantage in these matchups. It's these slow waves or slow push stacks, right? So even if Ramos wasn't like, maybe Ramos wants to go and farm Scuttle instantly or something, like it's really important that you understand this is when I'm strong. I can't give up this for you to farm Scuttle 5 seconds faster, you know? Because what will end up happening is that this game, like Darius ends up not killing you, or at least not that I've seen yet. But like, there's a world where Ramos needs to come top afterwards because you ruined your wave state, right?
Yeah.
And then both you and him are wasting more time than otherwise, you know? So it's really important, like, when you see a wave in this state, you never fuck it up. It's like your main rule as a tank player. Or if you're in a negative matchup, just in general, you can never fuck this up. Because it's the most important timing for you, you know?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, other than this, another thing I noticed is that when you fucked it up, like you can go a bit fast. You're gonna throw E now. A bit after this. Yeah, so pause.
Oops.
Like Darius is gonna kill you, and I think this Darius is hinting really hard, right? Because he Q'd an entire minion wave. So like, if I'm you, I'm really happy right now, because I'm gonna WQ run away. Like this is really good. Like your wave was fucked, but now it's good, right?
Oh, okay, I see.
So why are you throwing E? Like now it's fucked again. Like, it's not super bad, but it could be. So I think you were smart to walk up and like bait a trade because you're never in danger. Like, you're never gonna die here, right? Earlier.
Yeah.
But then you tell me, like, by doing what you're about to do, that you weren't actually thinking about that, right? You were just like, oh, I'm in a bad situation, I need to walk up.
Yeah. That's probably what I was thinking.
Yeah. So it's really important as a tank that like you know your limits like this. And that you bait damage, like even if you go down to 100 HP, if you recall afterwards, you don't die, it's fine, right?
Yeah.
Because like now your wave is perfectly fine, and there will be a lot of situations like this where earlier, like maybe the Darius played a bit better and he thinned the wave, but it was still a slow push, and then you don't have as many minions. So it's important that you know how to break those freezes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be very aware of like when you're doing it, because if you do it and then you push the wave again, like you just lost 300 HP for nothing, right?
Yeah. So basically here I should have just waited. I
Yeah, you
mean,
can just recall.
I can recall here.
Yeah, like here you have Vami in 600 gold or 60 gold, so maybe you want to wait a little bit and not recall instantly. You get some XP and then recall on Bamis, right?
Yeah.
But don't touch the wave because that will still push into you, like every time.
Okay.
And obviously, if it's a different situation where like the next wave is very far, then you can do what you did because he needs to tank 3 minions. But that's only if you're sure that he can tank those minions, you know? Because there's champions that can.
Okay.
Here it's the same thing as before. Like you want to cue the wave in a way that doesn't make it push, but doesn't make it easy for him to crash. Yeah, he did a pretty good job there. And now you just want to make it awkward for him. Like some champions like Maokai, you could even... So if you go back, you just use all his cooldowns except E. I would be kind of cheeky because like I know Graves is bot side, and you do too. Like I would just tank the wave on the left side and see what he does. Like maybe he goes into tower range, you can WQ him, run away. He takes a big trade, you tank the tower, you tank the wave, right?
Yeah.
Because like Maokai has sustain. This champion is really good at tanking minions for a while and then getting your health back, right?
Mm-hmm. True.
And it just puts pressure on him. Like maybe he doesn't know if he can recall now because he's gonna lose next wave. And it's like this small stuff that makes you win these matchups. Because tanks, they don't really win, but you can lose by less, right?
Yeah.
And maybe instead of being 20 CS down, you could be 10. And then you're pretty happy, right?
Yeah.
I think, is this a clean crush? It ends up not being. So if you go back, did you start playing Maokai recently?
I used to play it a lot back then, but since he's rework, not really.
Okay.
I do play a few times, but
Let's go back to when you push that wave. Because this is also really important. Playing tanks is all about waves, right? And like it's important that you know when you can crash and when you can't. So I want you to look at how you push this wave, and I want you to tell me if there's like anything you can do different to make it so the wave always crashes.
I mean, I should have already started to hit minions here.
Yeah.
And then I know that there's a way to Q and E and hit all the minions with it, but I didn't E in this wave. Don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
Because here, if I E in the middle, I hit the minion on the left.
Yuri
The
was
minion
on
on the
cooldown
right
because he used it
coming.
for a ward, which I think is okay. There's no problem.
Yeah, I mean, like right now, like
yeah.
Here I should hit more, then I Q, then I E.
Yeah, to me, if you go even back like 10 seconds, I think you're a bit confused on like how to approach, because like maybe you're afraid of Darius cheesing or something along those lines, like you ward the lane bush and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I would never be afraid if I'm you in this situation, because phase rush is up, all your abilities are up, he can't kill you, right? I think we can agree on this.
Yeah, true.
So, and it's also important that you understand, like, if you recalled, you only have so much time to crash the wave, right?
Yeah.
And it's really important that like you're looking at the game like this, because if you go back, what you can do is like as soon as you assume that he's not here, you can like start walking up to the casters. You always want to kill the casters first for two reasons. One, your minions, like your minions are already killing the melee minions, so you don't need to hit them as much, right? And the second reason is that if you kill the casters first, you can back off and be in a safer position when you're killing the melees, right?
Yeah.
So here, I would walk up to the casters. I think Maokai is like 2 auto attacks plus 1 Q to kill them, something like that. And then I would Q the melees. And then like you just walk away and like slowly kill the melees while you're walking away. And you need to have this, like when you're clearing waves, always the same thing will happen 100% of the time, right? Like the minions will always be in the same position. You'll always use the same spells the same way. So like you
Yeah.
need to know exactly how to do it and how to never fuck it up. Because this
Okay.
game, like imagine you recall or you stay in lane, like your wave is fucked for a bit. So you're just gonna lose like 6, 5, 10 minions for nothing, you know?
Hmm.
And you can avoid that really easily, right? Like it's nothing, your opponent didn't force this mistake, there's nothing that they did to make this happen. It was your mess up, right?
Yeah.
So it's really important that you understand like how to make sure the wave crashes, if you can crash it or not. Like some champions can't do it. Usually tanks are really good at it, but some champions can't, and it's important that you know, like, for example, Camilla has a hard time crashing one wave, right? She needs slow push.
Yeah.
And it's
I mean, I know
important you understand
exactly
when you...
that. I play a lot Shen, and I know that
Oh,
he's
yeah,
not the
yeah.
best
Shen
to
is the
clear
same
two.
thing. So it's important you understand, like, when can I do this, when can I not do it? And then when you
Yeah.
can do it, you need to do it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
Okay.
like this swap. The fight happened, but Herald is spawning and your bot lane is walking. That's good. I think it's smart. I noticed on the TP, like if you go back all the way there, like you look at bot and you see that there's a fight happening, but I feel like it's a bit of a panic TP. Like you kind of want to be involved, but you're not sure
Yeah.
if you'll be needed or not.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I thought the fight would go wrong for us,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't expect Caitlyn damage on 3 people and Silas coming. So yeah, it's kind of an overreact TP.
Yeah. Is this something that happens often? Is it a one-off in this game?
No, no, it's pretty rare. It's just
Okay.
I really
It's
felt it could be a bad fight, and I wanted to help our Caitlyn, but it went
okay.
well.
Okay. One thing I would do, if we go back, like I assume you saw people on the map, right? Like Sejuani Sen over mid, Graves was top. So after you clear this wave, I would just walk up and see where Rise is, because he had low mana, so maybe he's recalling.
Like up
Yeah.
around the T1?
Yes.
Okay.
And maybe I would even throw a sapling on the Gromp bush
Yeah.
just to see if he's recalling there. Because if you can stop Rise from moving, it's really good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes it easier for your team. Like maybe you can't move or ATPs later. It's just a small thing. You don't really lose much. If you know you're gonna walk to Herald, you can do it early too. Like there's no problem. Just small stuff you can do.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, this one is something I don't have a big opinion on. I kind of need to think about it. But do you think your flash is worth 1 kill on Darius?
Um, I think so, because it gives still more advantage on my carries.
Mm-hmm.
my flash is not that useful for now. I mean, it's not in like at 10 minutes that I want to flash W on Rise or anything, because that's not the moment where we can one-shot it or something, I assume.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong though, but
I'm not sure. Like I'm asking because I'm a bit curious too. Like what I'm thinking is, if you don't flash, you get Darius flash,
yeah,
and if you flash, you don't get his flash. So then the question becomes more: is 300 gold plus your flash, but not getting Darius flash worth, or is saving your flash but getting Darius flash better? You know, it's a bit of a tricky one. I think kills on Caitlyn is always good, so I'm not against this. Like I think it's always fine. But it's just something that crossed my mind.
yeah,
Because this game, I think it's hard for them to dive you, like even if you don't have flash. But there's games where you're playing tanks, where it's not really the case. Like Cyan with flash is a completely different champion, right? Like you can flash R, and they're
yeah,
kind of stuck in position, stuff like that. Um, so just a thought.
yeah. I don't know, because Darius Flash is also nice to take, because they can't do proactive play with him.
Yeah, and it's a
You
lot
like
easier to kill them in sideline, for
flashy,
example.
yeah,
Yeah. So just thinking a bit about it, I think it's worth mentioning. Indecisive.
yeah. I got a little bit baited by Caitlyn.
Yeah. Wait, did you sell a pink word?
No, it's a
No,
potion.
a potion. Okay, okay. I saw something red. I was like, no way, no way it did that. Okay, I like Harry's. I think they're smart. You get to have a better idea where people are.
Yeah,
These moments of the games are pretty boring for champions like Maokai. But is there
yeah.
like anything you're looking at the map that you think is a bit weird? We can talk about that instead.
Mm, I mean, I guess Ramus shouldn't be there. Like, I don't need him to be near me.
Mm-hmm. Is this something you communicated in game? Like, did he ask? Did he just come but?
I think he just came and I didn't notice.
Okay. I think it's important that you know when you can do it without and can stay under turret without the jungler. It's good that you know this game you can, right?
Yeah,
Another thing is that like I don't know where Rise is. I wasn't paying too much attention. Like now I know he's Drake, right? But
yeah.
for the last 30 seconds I don't know where Rise is. So like does Rise coming bot change anything? Like do we have enough vision to just be pushing top without Ramos being there and Salas moving? As a weak side
Mm,
top laner, or at least like this game as Maokai, I don't know, like there's not much you can do if you're just holding side, right?
yeah.
So small stuff you can do is like remind your team of this stuff, like where's Rise? Can they 3v2 you right now? Uh, should Ramos be bot? Like I'm not telling you to micromanage your team, but it's good that you can see it in the game even if you don't say anything. Like this is an in-house game, I assume, so it's like you
Yeah.
don't want to be noisy and just tell everyone what to do, right? But if you can see it, it's good because it means that you're aware of what's going on in the map. And then it's also easier to like talk about stuff in review, right?
Yeah.
Because right now I think Ramos fucked up a lot. Like he should never want his bot side camps.
Yeah, he should
He
be
should be
around
getting
the top
enemy
side.
red and enemy raptors, right?
Yeah,
And then if
yeah,
Sejuani does what she did, you should be diving her right now with Silas.
yeah. I think it was cool to dive her, but it was only Silas moving,
Yeah.
which was not the best.
And now if Rice TP top or if he ults, it's 3v3 and it's a bit ugly. Or even if Graves is there. Uh, in this case he's not because we saw him the Drake, but it can be a bit ugly, right? Did you think you couldn't survive 3v1?
Mm, yeah, I think I would die. Maybe I
The,
take one of them, but it's not even sure. Plus I don't have flash now.
yeah. Do you remember what your
So
calls were like a bit before this?
I can put the com if you want, but
I won't
it's in
understand it.
it's in French.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I just think it's if you can do it, like protecting plates until 14 minutes is really important. In
Yeah.
this game, I think it's a bit hard. Like Darius has Herald and stuff, so they probably always take the turret. But maybe there's a world you can like call your team to combat, or maybe Ramos can stay here. Because like, what is he gonna do? Is he gonna farm 2 camps, or is he gonna protect the full turret? You know?
Yeah.
And that's a lot more important than like, because now you're just giving the turret. Like you already got top turret, so it's not like you're trading anymore, right?
Yeah.
And you're not diving top either for top T2, so I think it could be something your team could do. It's like Lux recalls, Ramos stays bot, you protect this turret, Caitlyn pushes one wave recalls, and it's pretty good. And again, like this is the small
So
things you can do in mid game to impact the game,
yeah.
because now you're gonna give a lot of gold to Graves, Senna, and Darius, and it's not your fault, but you could have done something about it, you know?
Yeah. That is exactly the problem I have in these games. It's like sometimes I know I can't do anything, but I'm not communicating about it, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm not helping too.
Yeah, and it would have turned like Ramos' mistake from early into a good thing, right? Because
Yeah.
like stuff went good on top, and now he could already be bot and stop the dive. Because I don't think there's any way you get Dove like 3v2, like not possible, right?
Yeah. I
And
just we
if Rice
saw
shows
Rise
up, Salas
moving
can't even move.
bots. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, but
true.
Salas can move, and like Lux is coming from base.
Mm. Yeah, because now they have a lot of goals.
Yeah,
So that gives them a lot of advantage.
and again, it's like it's not terrible. You traded towers with Caitlyn, right?
Yeah,
But again, could be better, and
yeah.
that's the main thing. Okay, I want to talk a bit about the small concept that I think top laners need to explore a bit better. Like when both T1s are up, on top or bot, whatever side lane you're playing on, right? You don't have a lot of time to move on the map, but as soon as one of the towers falls, like you have maybe 30 seconds to 1 minute of windows to move on the map, right?
Yeah.
So usually how do you look to use those timers? Like here you're walking into mid, I think it's good.
I mean, I pretty much always do the same. Like when I'm on a side, I push the wave, then I fog in either the river or near the pit of the dragon,
Mm-hmm.
or same on the other side. And I just stay here, see what happens, and then I will go back on the side to clear the wave when it comes. And I do this pretty much all the time.
Okay. Okay. So this is a bit of what I want to talk about. So let's pause here. Do you feel like you need to collect this wave? Like in the game, you clearly do, but like now we're outside of the game. What are you thinking about your move right now?
Mm, maybe I should have stayed like either in the fog or near the mid wave to maybe put some pressure. Okay, we can take some plates mid.
Mm-hmm. Well, what's
Mm,
like the advantage of going bot right now? Because there could be one. There could be reasons to do this, right?
except from crashing the wave and creating a slow push.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean
I
I only
think
see that, but
so. I think you've already created a slow push. So like your only reason to go bot right now, it's either you crash the wave and you deny minions faster, which will probably happen anyways, or if your team wants to invade enemy jungle, and like someone is behind you, like maybe Salas didn't have to catch wave top and is behind you, you give another path for people to move into enemy jungle, right? Like you can move through the turret.
yeah,
But this game, I don't think it matters. Like you're not looking for that. Your team seems to be looking to play mid. And the way I want you to think about uh, the game when you lose a T1, it's like right now, this wave is slow pushing. Like you've already lost 3 minions. You're gonna lose all 6 if you stay mid, right? But what about your opponent? Like how many minions are they losing if you don't push this wave? Because this is gonna slow push, and eventually it's gonna hit T2, and there's gonna be about like 10 to a bit more minions under the turret that you're gonna get, but every other minion that your opponent didn't get, like, is also being denied, you know? Like, you're technically losing minions, but they're losing more if you don't hit this wave, is what I'm trying to say.
okay.
And the thing is, if you're not even as a tank player, like if you're a top laner and you want to impact a map, like you need to accept that you're losing those minions in trade of time with your team. That's like the most
Yeah,
important thing. And the quote unquote beautiful thing about this is that the first wave is where you lose the most minions. So if you move right now, you've already lost almost all the minions that you're gonna lose, you know? Like from here, the slow push is gonna happen, you're gonna lose like 2 or 3 more minions than you just lost. So instead of like moving and being with your team for 20 seconds, you could move and be with your team for a minute and a half, and you lose like 2 more minions for that 1 minute, you know?
okay, I
And
see.
it gives you a lot more time, because like, imagine they fight in mid right now, like Darius just pushed up, he could be moving into mid and they might start like a 5v3, right?
Yeah,
Because they have a really good champion to engage, they have Sejuani. It's really easy to just click R and engage, right?
mm-hmm.
And now Celis needs to catch top, because the wave is actually under turret, like he's actually losing minions. And you're going bot for what? For 3 minions, right?
Yeah,
To me, this is like in mid game. This is the most important thing for a top laner to understand. Give up those 5 minions, 6, 7 minions, whatever, and just stay with your team when you need to. Because if that Caitlyn gets that plate, that's more gold than you just lost, and you're still getting some EXP. You're making sure your team doesn't int, especially important in solo queue, right?
mm-hmm.
And a lot of
Okay,
teams in competitive, like, someone will go and catch this wave on bot lane, and you could even be fighting 4v4 or 4v3 because Darius decided to stay top, and then you're just taking a mid turret for free, right?
yeah, I see.
So yeah, you can keep playing, see what happens in mid. I would really like if your team gets engaged and they die, because it teaches you a lot. Alright, they burn flash. They probably won't die because you're pretty close, but you get my point, right? Like, there's a lot of solo
Yeah,
queue games where they die there. But if you're with your team, maybe you just turn the fight right away.
that's actually interesting. So I mean about the lane, the side lanes when there's no T1, as I told you, like I pretty know just the basics about catching waves and fogging and going back on the wave and fogging again, etc.
Yeah, like what you told me is right. You told me what I wanted to hear. You just didn't execute it right? Like, look,
Yeah,
if you look at bot right now, you have 30 more seconds before you need to go bot lane. There's one more wave that's gonna come and get demolished by that slow push, and then you need to go bot, right?
yeah,
So you have so much time. And the most important thing is that you don't die right before that last wave. Like, if your team is team fighting and like you need to join them or whatever, and like you give up your life for them to win a team fight or for them to not die or whatever, like, okay, you kind of just need to do it, right? But
yeah,
right now that slow push is building up, if you have no reason to stay here, I'd recall go bot, because you can't lose those minions. Uh, Now, if your team is asking you to stay here and you think it's a good idea, you need to do it. There's nothing wrong with that. That was a sick Darius flank. We've been fighting for 2 minutes. What's going on?
Oh my god.
What a game.
I didn't remember we fought that longer.
Yeah. Just a
So
small
yeah,
thing. If you
here.
go a little back, like here, you're gonna hit the wave. Even before this, like you need to be really aware of the map, because like look at bot lane. That's gonna crash very soon, and Caitlyn is
Yeah,
already moving mid. Don't hit the wave. Just go bot. Like there's nothing. There's no reason to do this. Like your Caitlyn is losing farm. She wants to be mid, right? Like she doesn't want to go bot. In this situation, it's not terrible if she goes bot, but like Drake is spawning, you want to have bot lane pushed, you want to have Caitlyn mid so she can get mid prio. And like, look, no one is going bot, no one is catching that wave. And like, does Sylas have TP? It doesn't. You don't have TP either. So like, now you're kind of in a bad situation where you could have gotten bot like 30 seconds ago, pushed the wave, ran top again to get this herald.
yeah,
Or you could have just committed to Drake. Depends what your team wants. But like, someone is gonna need to catch that wave bot, and you're playing on the other side of the map, so it's really ugly, right?
yeah,
So even if your team loses an entire wave on mid because you didn't push it, like tempo is all about this. Like you need to understand how much time do I have to go to somewhere and push it before like something needs to happen. Because okay, you got Herald, it was nice. The bot wave didn't crash as early as I thought it would, but now you need to push this wave before Drake, so it's still ugly in some ways, right?
yeah,
And we also have the opportunity now to talk about how your enemy lost so many minions because you didn't crash that wave early, right? It's like, look, so many slow pushed waves. Like maybe if we go back, I'm pretty sure it's like 4 or 5 slow pushed waves that the Darius or the Rise didn't get.
so it was here.
Yeah. So this is one. That's two,
This is 2,
3.
4, and 5,
Yeah, it's gonna be one
and
more.
6.
So they lost 6 waves because you didn't push it. And how many did you lose? You lost like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So 2 waves. That and like you're happy with this because you're a tank player, right? Like if your enemy is losing the same amounts of waves as you, you're happy. If you're gaining waves on him, you're mega happy. Because like your champion is more than fine doing this. Like Darius needs gold way more than you do, right?
Yeah.
So it's really important that like you understand this uh, everywhere. Like your role means so much when you're doing this. don't know if you noticed earlier, like you push the wave with 2 minions alive, and if you look to
On the
bot,
bot?
yeah, and if you look at bot lane, like here 2 minions are gonna stay alive. Every time your T1 is destroyed, but the enemy isn't, this is gonna create a slow push. So a lot of top laners, they would go and push another wave, but if you know this rule, you know that you don't need to do it. Because like, look,
Yeah.
that's gonna create a slow push, you have a lot of time to move, right?
Okay.
Here, I think it happens because like your team is fighting mid and you want to move, which is good. But if you
Yeah.
can see
It
it in the
wasn't
game,
really.
like you can do it even without your team fighting. Like you can move
Okay.
preemptively. It just depends on the game. Like sometimes it's better to just push the wave. You get more gold. Do you feel like this is a game you can stick to people like easily?
Yeah, I think so. Because there are 3 melees, I would count Graves as a melee. Ride
Yeah,
is not that a problem of staying in range.
I
Only
agree.
Senna is tough
I
to
think,
reach, but
yeah, I agree. So I think that's like the main thing when you're buying Sunfire Cape. But there's another thing that is important in my mind, and is like how much gold and how easy is it for me to sideline this game, right? Because like if you
yeah.
look at your CS, you're 118 versus 160. Like some of it is your team fighting a lot and you moving. Some of it is like laning phase. Another part is that you're playing Maokai versus Darius. It's normal that you're gonna be down CS, right?
Yeah.
And it's not easy for you to go to sideline and just farm a lot of the time. Because this game, if you're not with your team, it's really easy for an enemy to engage, right? Like you don't have disengage on Ramos, and no one can tank Sejuani ult except Ramos, right? In mid.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important that you're mid. So in games like this, I think Gauntlet is a bit better because it's cheaper and it gives you more stats when you buy a new legendary, right?
Yeah. Okay.
It's just a small thing. You can also go like cheap items like for example, Knight's Vow or something, and you put it on Caitlyn because she's your big carry. Maybe on Celis because he's fed this game, right? And then it works
Mm,
better with the Mythic passive.
yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea actually. Didn't think about it.
Yeah, those items are pretty good on Maokai.
Yeah.
Or tanks in general, like Ornn 2, stuff like that. And in general, like tank items are pretty cheap. Frozen Heart is cheap, Anathemas is cheap, right?
Yeah.
I don't like that you're moving to bot without your bot lane pushing the wave first.
You mean
Like,
like
all this is good. I think you should be behind Caitlyn. You don't need to
yeah.
show on the map either. Like, I
Okay.
like all of this. I like this. Why do you need to go bot right now?
Bot or top, you mean?
Top, sorry. Yeah.
Mm, I just see Rise moving to top. Maybe he wants to crash,
Yeah.
so I want to be there to get the minions.
But do you need to be there as fast as possible? Because, like, you can stay 3 more seconds in mid, and if they ever engage or if they ever do anything, you're there, right? because
yeah, true.
Salas and Ramos just recalled. Sejuani is in fog, and like Rice is still in fog. He's walking top, but he could easily ult mid, right? Like maybe his plan is to walk top, but then his team suddenly is like, oh, we can engage here, and they engage and he TPs mid.
Mm,
And like if you're here where you are right now, you can't do anything about it.
okay.
This is it's just important that you see like how much time do I have before I need to go top. Because in this case, like you could have been here 5 seconds later, it doesn't change anything. But there's a game where it changes something in mid, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to feel about getting that wave. Was there anything that you saw that made you want to get it?
Why did I cancel? Yeah, I don't think I was thinking about anything, and right now I don't see why I went for that wave.
Mm-hmm. I think if you can sneak waves like this, it's good. Like maybe you think Darius Grave or Rise Graves can't kill you. I think they can put you to half HP at least, which is a bit annoying.
Yeah.
Um, Main thing I would be a bit scared is like again, you don't see Graves and Rise. If you go half HP, you need to recall, and like Baron is about to spawn. I know you have TP, but you'd rather not just use it, right?
Yeah, it's not good.
And then the other thing is that your team is pushing mid at the same time. And if I'm a tank top laner, and again, it depends on team compositions like this game, it's really hard to disengage the Sejuani ult if I'm your team and I don't have you near me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a bit afraid like every time they push mid and people can move on them. That situation was okay. I don't think it's like the worst thing, but it's important to think about it.
Okay.
This is another situation where it's like you need to choose: do we want to contest mid or do we want to like wait for a bit? This isn't so much like on your movement, it's more if your team wants to get Baron vision because it's very scary to face check enemy team, for example, maybe you need to give up this bot lane wave, right?
Yeah.
Or you can, or if you know that like maybe it's not that scary actually, as long as you're there and they have like blue trinkets and stuff like that, maybe you can push this wave, see Darius, and then go for the vision. I think as a tank top, like a lot of people kind of, in a lot of teams, your job is kind of to just shut up and take a bad laning phase and hope your team carries, right?
Yeah.
But if you want to be like a really good one, you need to be aware of these things and you need to be able to call it, especially in mid game, because like right now, I think you have tempo advantage on Darius. Let's use that tempo, and you should be the one commanding that. Like you don't need to, again, micromanage your teammates, but
Yeah.
right now, if they don't want to recall, you can be like, guys, I have time to move on the map. I think we can get Baron vision, and then you recall it, you catch this wave, you know, or maybe
Okay.
like you lose a bit of this wave, but it's fine because you got 3 wards on top side enemy jungle, and now you're very happy. And
Yeah.
Salas can even push top, for example. Double crit cloak, I see. It's the new tech.
Yeah. I guess it looks interesting at least.
Yeah, I've talked about this with my analyst a few times.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird to build Infinity Edge when you have three. You don't have enough item slots. It's the main issue. But you managed to do it this game. Not too bad.
Franklin is actually the Rift from Lily Sports from this season.
Yeah, I saw. Okay, I like that you ping mid. It's kind of the stuff that I was saying earlier, like you want to be able to at least tell your team what to do, even if you're not micromanaging. Do you know like why you were chasing here? Like, was your team looking for an engage? What's going on?
You mean here?
Yeah.
I guess I'm just walking forward, so maybe we can get the lane prio early.
Okay. Do you need
And
this prio?
I think we do.
Why?
Because we
You can think
for
of...
me,
Yeah.
for me, we need to take that prio because if we manage to take it high and reposition in the river, they can't really walk forward with the Lux. I mean, they shouldn't, even if Sejuani is quite tanky. And yeah, that's my main idea on what we should take prio.
Okay. I agree that if you are the first one to enter river, they can't walk, right?
Yeah.
Let's go back 30 seconds. So here, I think you're the first one to walk river. Like you got mid prio, Drake is spawning in 20 seconds, maybe a bit less. It's 15 seconds now. And like now you already got what you wanted, right?
Yeah.
So why do you need next prio?
Oh.
Because to me, if the wave is here right now and there's 10 seconds for Drake, I'm okay with what you're doing. I think it makes sense. You get this wave, you go back to river, chill, right?
Yeah.
But the wave is so far. Look, it's at the inhibitor. And Drake is spawning in 5 seconds. So
Okay.
by doing this, what you're gonna do is that your team is gonna get mid prio. If the enemy team is bad, they're gonna contest it, they're not gonna get it, and maybe there's a random fight mid. Or maybe they just get pushed and you go back to river, right? If the enemy team is good, they're gonna give up the prio, they're gonna go river, and then they are the ones first in river.
And
And
then
it
it's hard for
feels...
us to...
yeah, it's like, it's not the hardest thing in the world, but like, why would you want to be in that position, right? You're much happier being in the position you are right now, like 5 seconds ago, and just stacking the bushes with Maokai saplings and Caitlyn spamming E and Qs, and then they can't walk, right? And like one thing you want to do as Maokai is you want to pre-sapling the flanks.
Yeah.
And you can't do that right now. But you could have if you stayed in river, right?
Okay.
So it's really important that like you understand this situation, because this will happen every game, and your champions are super broken in this scenario. Like Ornn, Gragas, Maokai, Shen a bit less because it's Shen.
Yeah.
But like Cyan, like all these champions, super broken in the river, right? Especially if people like need to walk into you. Your champions are so OP. So don't like try to not make this mistake of leaving river when you don't need to. Because if you stay in river, you're putting saplings in every bush. Someone is gonna get Lux queued, they're gonna go half HP, you're gonna get Drake for free. Or you can even like position yourself, you know where on the missing ping on the minimap?
Yeah.
Like you can position yourself there and like Maokai ult from a distance. And maybe you can create an engage like that. Stuff like that, you know?
Okay.
So it's really
that's
important.
Something I don't really know how to do, like is to put good Maokai ults, because it's a bit slow at the beginning, then it goes faster, and I don't know when or how I should put it.
Yeah, I think that comes with time. It's like if they're a bit less, if they're at like 1/3 of your ult, you'll always hit them unless they have dashes. I don't know how to explain this properly. Like maybe I can share screen.
Yeah.
Right. Can you look?
Yep. Good.
Alright, let's say that Maokai ult is like, it's a bit more than this, but let's say it's like this distance, right? I think if you're trying to hit Graves from here, you're never gonna hit him, But if Graves was like here, you could hit him, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously, like maybe walks here and he dodges it, but if he's walking up, it's always gonna hit. The other thing is that you're just trying to like stop engages, or if you ult from this side of the map, the ult is gonna go like this. And maybe like 2 or 3 people can follow up on a Sejuani engage, but then like Sen is stuck here, for example, you know? And it just makes it awkward for them to play the fight.
Okay.
So it's a bit about trying to be creative with where you go. But like staying in river beforehand is very important. We had one rule in PCS, which is if the wave is in, like if you've already gotten the wave and Drake is spawning like 10 seconds, or if when the wave meets, Drake is spawning in like 10 seconds, you just stay in river if you don't have anything to defend in mid. Because like there's a lot of games where you're fine losing this T2 for Drake, right? And in this game, it's like the perfect situation. You already got the wave, and the other wave is not coming before Drake spawns. So you can easily like take Drake. If they try to take T2, you flank them. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
You can keep going. Okay, so I think enemy team is a bit noob. They should have, in my opinion, they should give up mid wave and then they go Drake. Like maybe there's some issues with that. Like for example, Baron is up and maybe just go and you turn to Baron, which would be a good reaction, right? So I don't think it's like super black and white. I don't know which Drake this is. If it's like second or third, I don't think what they did is very bad. Yeah, like it's your first one. I don't think it matters too much if they give it, if they don't care, but it's just important that you understand. So like here, for example, when you ult, like if you look at it, if you go a bit back, in this game it wouldn't make a difference, but like look at when you ult, okay?
Yeah.
Look at the range, like 1 or 2 frames before this. So you're gonna ult right now. It's like it's gonna hit where your mouse is, right? Maximum.
Yeah, maximum.
If the enemy team is like, if they're aware that your ult is coming, like they're always gonna dodge it, right?
Yeah.
All they need to do is like walk a bit up, and they're out of it. They could walk, right? It's like it's not hard to do it. Like one single flash will put them out of your ult. They don't even need to walk if they flash. And
Yeah.
I think this is the kind of stuff you want to avoid as Maokai. Like if your team is getting a flank off or something, and you want them to walk top, then your ult is good, because like they'll want to do it. But because there's no flank, just try to get closer and then ult, you know?
Okay.
They end up getting Baron is like, it's a bit of a stressful situation. I understand why you ult early, but it just, in general, you kind of want to ult like when they're halfway your ult range, or like 1/3, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, there shouldn't be much stuff happening in the next like minute and a half, because it's just Baron. Like there's no objectives to fight for. Is there like anything interesting you think happened for the rest of the game?
We can fast forward a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know how to use my ult, I guess, because I mean it's a tool to engage, but I feel like it's so hard to engage with it unless
Okay, so
it's
here,
coming from a
one
flank
thing,
or something.
yeah, I don't think like Maokai is a good ult to engage like front to back. It's more like from the sides. But like
Yeah.
here, for example, if you go back, like look at how you aim it.
Oops.
So you're trying to hit both Senna and Darius, right? But
Yeah.
if you try to aim at only one person, you're always gonna hit them.
Okay.
Like if you aim straight to Darius, it's more likely that you hit him because he has less space to move, and it's the same for Senna, right? You just need to decide on who you want to hit. Like here, Sejuani would face tank it, so it doesn't matter, but just something to think about. I also think it's kind of hard to engage. It's like it's way better as a follow-up or an anti-engage ult.
Yeah.
Like right now, it would be really good because everyone got slowed. They're kind of clumped up. You ult, and then they get snared, right? It's a bit like Arnold, except Arnold is more OP versus people
Yeah.
without flash or versus less mobile carries.
It's a bit easier to hit with
Yeah,
people with range too.
but it's also less wide, so it doesn't have as
Yeah.
much of an impact. Like for
Yeah.
example, Maokai you can hit the entire bot lane. Like it's very OP, right? Like if you're in river, you can hit the entire escape path from when you're ganking, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Ornn can't really do that. So there's advantage and disadvantage. Right. I think we can fast forward until like next objective or something happens.
Yeah, they'll just they got caught.
Right. So
Yeah, I guess from this point it's not really that interesting. We're just getting caught and
mm-hmm.
we are overreacting and we use stuff and we don't do anything with our ults.
Yeah, I think maybe one thing that's interesting to talk about, like there when Ramos gets cut, it's more how. So like you want to contest this streak, right? How do you
Yeah.
plan to do it? Like, do you want to enter through the jungle and just like face check them? Do you want to push mid and try to enter river? Like, what's your team plan? Like, this is an in-house stuff. Like this is gonna happen. People aren't on the same page, right?
Yeah.
But if this is if this is a scream from my team, and this is happening, like I'm gonna ask like, why is two people trying to enter through mid and three people trying to enter through jungle? You know?
Yeah.
And you have power over this because like you're one of those people. So what are the comps? Like, are people saying anything? Are they panicking? Are you thinking about where to go? Like, are you just hitting mid because you're already there? You
In
know?
this situation, like we all wanted to contest the dragon. We
Okay,
were all agree
that's
on that.
good. So
But
then the next step is how do you do it, right?
yeah, and I said we want to go through mid lane or
Mm-hmm.
something. I said something like this, and
And
yeah,
then your
I think I
jungler had a
might.
different idea, I guess. Yeah, I mean it's fine. It doesn't matter. It
I
just
might said a bit too late or anything, but for me, it's yeah. For
yeah.
me, we have to play from mid lane.
But that's what matters. Like as long as you're putting like one, as long as you're aware of it, it's good. And then it's important that if no one is saying anything, someone is, you know?
Yeah,
So if you did say let's enter through mid, even if it's not the best choice, at least it's like everyone is doing the same thing, or
yeah,
hopefully they're doing the same thing. This game, I think mid is a bit easier, but it's kind of hard anyways. Like everyone is a bit late. Advantage of going through the jungle is that you go there a bit faster, but it's harder to like disengage and stuff like that. And the advantage of going through mid is that it's a bit safer, but you'll take longer to do it, right? Like you need to push this wave, and then you need to go there. It's gonna take a while.
yeah. But more of that, like I think going through mid is giving more space to our carries
Yeah, I
to
agree.
play the game because through jungle there's Rise, there's Sejuani, the Senna, like it's more difficult to dodge skill shots or
Yeah, I
not
agree.
getting stormed or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, the call was to go mid.
Okay. I think if there's nothing else happening this game,
Yeah,
uh,
just keep fast forwarding. There's Nash. It's yeah, I
What
think
a
we yeah.
fun game.
Yeah, kinda. In the
Exciting
end,
to
it
watch,
was a bit.
definitely. Maybe not so much to play, but
Yeah, I had a hard time, but it's fine. Uh,
oh,
yeah, at some point we somehow were winning fights,
mm-hmm.
and we are more kills and stuff. But I think we took one bad fight, and it was doomed. What happens here? Oh yeah, that was a good one.
I think your ult was fine. I think the
Yeah,
idea to fight is, I guess it's okay. I would be happier, like, enemy team has 3 Drakes, right?
yeah,
Yeah, so I guess it's fine if you fight because people are dead. But I would try to, like, put them closer to us so it's easier to follow up. Because, like, here, it's not really your fault, like, Ramos is engaging first. But, like, here it takes a while before Lux and Caitlyn can hit people, you know? But your ult
yeah.
is good. That's kind of like how you want to use it. You just want to make sure it's easier to follow up.
Okay. They play Nash. Oh, oh no, there's a coach.
Oh, try to avoid kills like that when you're pushing people away.
This, yeah.
Ah, nice try. Yeah, not much to say about these last parts of the game.
Yeah,
I
it's
think,
just fights,
yeah,
basically.
to me, main things about this session was in early game, you could be a bit more aggressive on certain points in the lane. Like some matchups, you know you can't die, and you should use that a lot more to your advantage, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you can crash a wave in like a single wave and you don't need slow push, try to like always use the same method so that it works 100% of the time. In mid game, try to like it's the thing about side waves mainly that we talked about, right? You want to create a slow push towards your side and you want to use your time like whatever, like one
Yeah.
minute 30 seconds, 1 minute and a half. It depends how your enemy team reacts, but like you have a lot of time to move and stay with your team if you do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then for objectives, just settle on a rule in your head, like if we took the wave and Drake is spawning in 20 seconds, we don't take the next one, for example.
Yeah.
Something like that. Like try to waves are usually every 28 seconds, 25 seconds in mid game because the minion speed changes over time. So if you take the minion wave and it's 30 seconds for Drake, usually you can just stay Drake and it will spawn when the next wave comes, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's a good way to think about it, and it
Okay.
just makes it easier to put it in your head. Like, do I need to get the next wave? Yes, no, and you just play off that because like your champions rely a lot on it. I
Okay.
think those were the main things for today.
Yeah. That was really interesting. Thank you. Thank you for the review.
No problem. Right, I'll see you around it.
See ya.
See ya.